Today we're going to work on a really neat project, and we're going to be able to weave typography or type in and out of any object in this nature shot. We're going to do that through the use of layer mask. So we already used layer mask to make a 50% gray layer, and using the dodge and burn tool to be able to bring out highlights and shadows on people's faces without destroying the original photo. We're going to do something a little bit different, but we're still going to work with layering masks. So I'm going to do this simple project to demonstrate how these layering masks work. So I'm going to just use the type tool, and I'm going to type out a simple word. Let's just do typography. I'm going to make it fairly big. Make sure I have it spelled correctly, typography. And I'm just going to double click this and just kind of take a look. This is Azo Sans, which is a really nice bold typography if you don't have it in your library to use. So I'm just going to use that. You can use Helvetica or any kind of sans serif font, or a serif font if you'd like. So what I'm going to do is I want to try to position this, and sometimes I like to go ahead and go to my layer and reduce the opacity to a little bit to kind of see how I can weave the typography in and out and kind of create a really neat layered effect. So I'm just going to kind of position certain words so that very critical parts of words aren't covered up. Okay, so I'm just going to position it right about here. I'm going to go ahead and make it full opacity so I can kind of see how it looks. So we're going to use layering masks to be able to weave these people in and out without having to cut out the people in separate layers, which we would normally do. We would go ahead and try to get our selection tool, select the man out, copy and paste him on a new layer, or use a layer mask to kind of crop him. But this is a lot quicker way to kind of mask objects. So I have my layer selected, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my layer mask right down here. I'm just going to go ahead and click it. So I add my layering mask, and I'm going to go ahead, and when you have layering masks, black is what takes it away, what takes that object away or erases it, and white is what adds it back in. So I have it on just pure black right now, so just pure black. And I'm going to get that paintbrush tool, and I'm going to go ahead and make it a slight transparency again so I can kind of see where I'm cutting it out. And I'm going to go ahead and cut out the O from this man right in this area. And so black takes it away, so that'll take it away. And if I ever want to add it back, let's say I take too much away, I go ahead and flip it to white and I add it back in. So I'm going to be adding and subtracting with black and white. So let me kind of go back and switch to black. So now brushes are really important because right now I have a soft round brush. So when I make an erase, when I paint it away, it kind of adds this feather to it, which can have a nice effect and make it look like it's a shadow, or it could almost make it look like it's not fading enough. So you can do that effect if you'd like, or if you want a sharper cutout, you can switch to hard round, maybe make a smaller brush, and go in and just do a more precise cutout. Just depends on the look you're going for. And what's great about layering masks, if I mess up, I can always go back and paint with white to go back and get a little bit of the excess I didn't take off or I took too much off. So let's say I'm just erasing this portion. And let's say, oh, that was a bad cutout. No problem, I'm just going to switch to white, maybe get a more precise brush size, zoom in and just kind of paint that back out till I get what I like. And this is where I'm doing this with the mouse. I'm going to do it with the mouse the whole time because that's probably what you guys have access to. But if you had the Wacom tablet or an iPad where you can plug in like an iPad Pro, this is where that really comes in handy because you can paint using the Wacom tablet instead of just having to use your mouse. You can get a little bit more precision. So sometimes I like to reduce the opacity quite a bit in dark areas that I can't see. So let me go ahead and switch. I'm on my layering mask. I'm going to go ahead and delete this area where this guy's mouth is. And sometimes I switch between the soft feathered brush and kind of the more precise hard round brush. I'll switch between these two. Sometimes the feathered effect gives me a better look. Just depends. So I'm going to go ahead and switch back. I'm going to leave the P how it is. So now when we go ahead and make it full opacity, you can kind of see how we were able to create that really cool 3D effect where it looks like the type is going right through them. We could do the same over here. We're going to do a couple other I'm going to show you kind of an example of how I'm painting using layering masks, and I'll be right back. So let's continue to play with this a little bit. I'm going to reduce the transparency here. I'm going to go ahead and paint with my paintbrush on my mask. I'll make it kind of a bigger tool. And let's do a soft round. I'm just going to do some general areas. If it takes too much, I reduce the brush size, and that gives me more precision. And once I kind of get the border erased, I can get a bigger brush and just kind of take all that away. And you can do this with anything. It doesn't have to be typography. It can be another object or an animal. And just kind of the power of layering masks and how that works. That's a pretty neat effect. It gives it a really nice layered look. I can go in and add a new layer, and I can paint on shadows and kind of make it really pop out in the environment. And I can add shadows that the A would cast on her. So I can have this layer underneath typography and kind of make sure I get a nice soft round brush. Make it a little smaller so she would have some shadows cast here, right? And I can reduce the opacity on that shadow layer, just making it look a little bit more a part of the environment. Same thing with the P. I can go in here and create a new layer and just paint on some black shadows right here where the P would kind of be popping out, casting a shadow. Just like that. Maybe reduce the opacity a little bit so it's not too strong. Okay, so we could just create another word. And this is what's so neat, is you have a lot of power here and flexibility. So I just copied that. I'm going to delete this layering mask. So I'm just going to right click my layering mask. We're just going to do a new one on this word. I wanted to kind of show you an example of how you can use this to paint over a lot of different environments. So this is going to be called waterfall. And we're going to have it kind of go through the water. And we're going to use layering mask to kind of layer that waterfall on top. So we're going to go ahead and create our layer mask. So I'm just going down here, creating a layer mask. So now I'm going to want to erase things to make it look like it's taken over by the water. So I'm going to have black and have my brush. I'm going to get a nice soft round brush. I'm going to make it pretty big. And I'm just going to reduce the opacity quite a bit, maybe like 25%. We just want to do different kind of techniques to make it look like it's covered by the water. And we can increase the opacity in certain areas. Right? We're just creating different lines of different opacities. We can make it smaller. Right? Make it look like it's only going in certain areas. So you're ending up getting a pretty cool effect. And if you ever feel like you've gone too far, just switch it to white and it'll erase it and take it away and lighten it up for you. So it looks like it's behind the waterfall, or the waterfall's trickling through it. And let's do another one just for fun. So let's go ahead and delete that layering mask, and I'm just going to title this, let's title it Fun. And you can just put it anywhere on these rocks. You can put it down here in the rocks, or we can have it rest right here. You can have it rest right here. Let's make it smaller. Okay, and we're going to make it a little bit transparent. We're going to zoom in and find opportunities to cut it away to look like it's resting on the rock. Just going to cut it right here. See this kind of rock? Part of the rock that gets cut here a little bit. And if I ever need to go back, and now I'm painting with white, now I'm getting it back right here where I cut a little bit too much. And just like that, I'm going to go ahead and switch it. It looks like it's cut out of the rock. Once again, I can add shadows behind it. I could just paint on, let's get my nice soft round brush and make it nice and big. I could paint some shadows here. Go ahead and drag this layer underneath. Right, so maybe it's casting some shadows behind there. And I can always just take the eraser tool and just fine tune those shadows. Wouldn't have shadows on that end, you'd have it behind it. And you wouldn't have it on top, so I'm just kind of erasing that. That would just reduce the transparency of my shadows. I have a little bit of a shadow cast.
So that was before, and this is after, just adding a little bit of shadow. So just kind of having fun with different environments. So you put on the water, you can weave it in and out just by knowing and utilizing the layering mask system.